Right guys, so we start on with today's topic, right? Today's topic is vocabulary. अभी देखो, if we talk from the exam perspective, अगर exam में इस topic के weightage की अगर मैं बात करूँ ना, तो this topic usually comes for 7 marks. Total 7 marks के लिए ये topic exam में आता है. Now we'll talk about the portions which are covered in this topic. मतलब what portions can be tested in the exam is this particular topic का contents क्या है. Because when we talk about the word vocabulary, it normally means a variety of words, right? A huge variety of words is normally known as a vocabulary. तो यहाँ पे इस टॉपिक में what सब टॉपिक्स आर देयर, राइट? What do we need to study? What do we need to know for the exam purpose, right? एग्जाम में जो यूजुअली पूछा जाता है, वी वुड बी आस्क्ड अबाउट सिनोनिम्स एंड एंटोनिम्स. यहाँ पे आई हैव सेड टेस्टेड इन द एग्जाम, मतलब क्वेश्चंस आर आस्क्ड फ्रॉम दिस टॉपिक. देन idioms is also tested in the exam. Then phrasal verbs, right? These are also tested in the exams. But जो balance topics यहाँ पे मैंने mention किए हैं, these are there in the institute study material, but in topics के ऊपर a question has not been asked in the exam till date. So now the question arises कि what should be our approach? Should we do these topics or should we leave these topics? My suggestion would be that overall, on an overall basis, right, normally when we talk about a particular topic, we say that a particular topic is easy or a particular topic is difficult. But this topic is somewhere where we can say it's neutral, because when we talk about vocabulary, right, different people will have a different bandwidth of words which he or she would know, right? So here the question is that whether you know a particular word which comes in the exam or whether you don't know about it, because the universe is large when we talk about vocabulary, and it's virtually impossible for us to know each and every word, right? So now it's a little bit of a trial and error from the exam perspective, whether a word which comes into the exam, either we need to give the synonym, or we need to give an antonym, or if there's a phrasal verb or there's an idiom which comes in the exam, do we know the meaning of that or not? But in terms of our efforts, see, because it's 7 marks, it is MCQ, right? Another good thing is that it will be MCQ. There will be 4 options which will be given in the exam, and out of the 4 you need to choose one. So it makes our work a little bit easy, because after studying English for so many years, right, either let's say cutting out the options which are there, eliminating the options, right, we can work our way through towards the right answer. So 7 mark MCQ. The other topics which are there in the institute material but they have not been asked in the exam till date are connotations, prefix and suffix, root of word and collocation, right? These are the topics which are there in the study material, but these haven't been asked. Our approach, see, we cannot cover each and every word which is there in the dictionary. What is our approach? We will cover the institute study material. We will cover all the past year papers till date. We will cover all the revision test papers, and we'll cover the mock test paper, right? So this constitutes a universe for us, because this is the best what we can do. We can cover the institute material plus MTP, RTP and past exam papers. And I believe that this will give us a strong foundation in terms of huge number of words that we'll know, and it will increase the probability of a similar word which appears in our exam, right? So this is what our approach will be. Now let us come to each one of the topic one by one. First we'll talk about synonyms and antonyms. So basically when we talk about synonyms, we would refer to words having similar meaning, right? When we talk about synonym, we are referring to words having similar meaning, right? And when we talk about antonyms, we are talking about opposites, right? We are talking about opposites. So normally we see in the exams that from this particular section, right? From this particular section, we are asked, let's say 2 to 3 marks question, right? 2 to 3 marks from this particular topic, and it's pretty simple, right? It will not even take 10 seconds to answer this if we know the meaning or if we know the opposite of a particular word. So let's have a look at some of the examples, right? Synonyms means a word which is having a similar meaning. Antonym would mean the opposite of a particular word, right? Like let's say hot, cold, big, small. So that those are the opposites, right? So we have taken certain example. Let's look at these words. Let's say the word is jovial, right? Jovial would mean somebody who is cheerful, somebody who is lively, somebody who is joyous. And if we talk about the opposite of the word jovial, right? Jovial means joy, so happiness. So the opposite would be sad, morose, dull, unhappy would be the antonym. So here we are talking about a scenario where we would either be asked to give a meaning, similar meaning word for a question word, or maybe an opposite of a word which is given in the question, right? So I have put in a list of words, right? You can have a look at it, right? And see what are the synonyms and what are the antonyms of those words. Then we'll move on to the practical exercise. Right? Here, see, our objective is that what I would suggest, vocabulary is an ongoing process. As you keep reading things, as you keep listening things, that whenever you listen to a new word, right, or whenever you come across a new word, just quickly do a Google search, right, and just see what is the meaning of that word, and thereby you will keep adding new words to your vocabulary. But from our exam perspective, I have given you enough content through these work notes, right? Enough for your practice. If you are able to do this much, I hope that something from this material could come in the exam. And then please remember that the words which they ask in exam are not off the air, right? They are words which are commonly used, and generally people would know the meaning or the opposite of those particular words. Now let us try our hand on to couple of words. Maybe we'll try to play something like a KBC where you will have to put in the answer in the chat, or those of you who would be watching it later through video modes, or maybe people watching it on YouTube, right? You can put your answers in the comment section, or maybe keep let's say writing it on a pad, whatever is suitable for you. Let's look at the first word. The first word was asked in May 18 exam, which is perpetual, right? Could you please write the meaning of this word in the chat? What do you mean by perpetual? The options given are general, emotional, stubborn, and continuous, right? What do you mean by perpetual? So we have answers in the chat, right? So perpetual would mean continuous. Something which is continuous would mean perpetual. So perpetual is not something which is a very new word. Most of us would have heard about this word earlier. Now, the next word is despot. Right? Somebody could tell me the meaning of this word despot. Type in your answers in the chat. Those watching it on YouTube, put it in the comment, please. Despot. See, this is relatively a new word, right? This is relatively a new word. अगर इस word की हम बात कर रहे हैं तो maybe there are chances that majority of you may not have heard about this word earlier, right? But then you can basically try to eliminate, right? When I was talking about the elimination approach, right? See, let us have a look at the options. The options are Triant, storage, hot meal, against. So according to me, I can very well eliminate hot meal because I don't associate normally despot with hot meal. Something like storage also I would eliminate because this also does not sound similar to storage. Now I am left with two options, which is Triant and against, right? So now see, there are two ways of doing it. Either you can play your luck because there are no negative markings, right? If you go wrong, you don't get a mark, and if you go right, you will get a mark. But there is no negative marking as it is there in maybe the maths or the economics paper. So the good thing is please attempt. So if I am to see your answers in the chat, please at least attempt, because there are no negative markings, right? So try to eliminate the options which you feel are not suitable and try to arrive at a suitable option per your choice. Right, so some of you have said A in the chat and A is the correct answer. Basically, despot means a dictator, right? Despot would mean a dictator, somebody who is authoritative, somebody who tries to control people, right? That is known as despot. And tyrant would also have the same meaning, means a dictator, somebody who is trying to control or exercise authority on somebody else. Right, so great. For those who said option A in the chat, great. Let's move on. We'll look at some more questions from the past exam paper. Illict. ILLICT. Again, this is a common word, I believe. Could you please type in the answer in the chat? This word is not way off. Quickly put in your answers in the chat. What do you mean by illict? Right, so most of the answers which I am getting on the chat are correct. Illict would mean unlawful, right? Illict would mean unlawful. Then the next word, again, this is also very easy, proficient. What do you mean by proficient? Normally, we associate this word with language ability, right? Sometimes they ask you a question that in a particular language, what is your capability, right? Are you proficient? Are you, let's say, a novice, right? So this word would mean somebody who is an expert, right? I am proficient in English, means I am capable, I have an expert knowledge of using this particular language, right? So proficient would mean expert, great. Then fiction, again this is a common word. So see, by going through the past exam questions, right, this would give you a little bit of confidence in the sense that the words are not very way off, or these are not very bombastic words, right, of which we don't know meaning or we haven't heard these words ever before, right? What do you mean by fiction? Because we know fiction stories, fiction novels, right? So by fiction, see, I am getting most of the answers which are correct in the chat. Fiction would mean fantasy, right? Fiction would mean fantasy. Great. Let's have a look at the next word, demote. What do we mean by demote? See, demote means either somebody is promoted, means that guy rises to the next level, or maybe because of your poor performance, you are demoted, right? So you are downgraded, you go to a lower position, right? So the correct answer is downgrade, right? Again, I have got majority of correct answers in the chat. Let's have a look at the next word, crooked. The next word is crooked. Crooked. Right, great. The answer to this is twisted. Something which is crooked is twisted. Right, maybe we could associate the road was crooked. Then reckless. What do you mean by reckless? Again, a very easy, very common word. Reckless is that somebody who does not care much, somebody who is really not caring about the way he or she is conducting. So right, so I am getting correct answers in the chat. Reckless would mean careless. Humongous, right? The next word is humongous. What do you mean by humongous? Humongous would mean huge, something which is huge, right? So normally for the term huge, if it's actually really huge, like let's say our math syllabus is humongous, right? That would mean that the syllabus is very large. It's a huge syllabus. So humongous would mean huge. Next word is abundant. Again, this is also very easy. Next word is abundant. Abundant means there is abundant water in the lake. Right? There's abundant water in the lake. So this would mean plentiful. Right? This would mean plentiful. Then the next word is myriad. What do you mean by this? Right, so most of you are good at vocabulary, right? I am getting the correct answers, right? It would mean democratic, dramatic rather, dramatic. Then the next word is relevant. The next word is relevant. Again, this is a very common word. Quickly put in your answers in the chat. Relevant. See here, most of the answers which I have got in the chat is incorrect. Right? Here the answer is pertinent. Relevant, see, let's say if I could make a sentence for a particular thing, maybe provide me all the relevant documents which are necessary in relation to this particular case. Right? Provide me with all the relevant documents which are necessary for this particular case. So here I am asking documents pertinent to this case. Right? Documents pertinent to this case. Although related is close, right? I would agree that related is close, but pertinent is more specific, right? Pertinent is more specific to the word relevant. Is it clear to everyone? Here the answer is pertinent. Although related is close, but pertinent is more specific in relation to the term relevant. Then the next word is unabashed. Next word is unabashed. Right. Again, I am getting most of the answers which are correct. It is not embarrassed. Right. Not embarrassed. The boy was unabashed although he failed in all the subjects. Right, so it's not getting embarrassed. Scintillating. The next word is scintillating. What would be the meaning of this particular word? I think most of you haven't heard of this word. The answer to this is glittering, right? Normally this word is associated with something which is glamorous, something which is shining, right? So the meaning of this word is glittering, right? Then concise. I believe most of you would be able to answer this. Concise. Because in our BCR itself, we have used this word several times, right? Concise would mean brief. Cryptic. The next word is cryptic. Cryptic. This is a very cryptic situation. Right? This is a very cryptic situation. So it would mean mysterious. Right? This would mean mysterious. Then combat. Combat. It's very easy. Combat would means to fight. Right? To fight. Then repulsive. Repulsive. Right, most of your answers are correct. It is disgusting. Right, repulsive would mean disgusting. Nostalgic. The next word is nostalgic. Right, so when you are, let's say, after a couple of years, maybe you leave your school, it's been 10 years. After 10 years, again you visit your school or college, right? That moment is normally known as a nostalgic moment. So by this, if you can make sense of what the answer could be. Quickly put in your answers in the chat. See, here the better word which would mean this is homesick, right? So basically you are missing somebody. I feel nostalgic means I am relating back, or I am dating back to a particular scenario, right? I am dating back to a particular scenario. Then the next word is economize. Right, economize. This is also a very frequently used word, economize. What do you mean by economize? You should try to economize your expenses. See, again there is a competition. See, economize, all the words are basically related, right? Reduce, save, minimize, right? And accumulated is also more or less related. Out of these four you need to choose the best, which basically suits the best. So when you say we want to economize, means you want to save, right? When you say that you want to economize on something, you say that you want to save on that particular thing, right? So the best among the four options would be save. Then let's have a look at the next one, applaud. What do you mean by applaud, right? When somebody does something very good, you applaud for that particular person, right? So basically you praise that particular person, right? You praise that particular person. Then embezzle. The next word is embezzle. What do you mean by embezzle? In your accounts, maybe you would have heard that the cashier embezzled cash and then he ran away. So embezzle would mean to steal, right? To steal. Then the next word is divulge. What do you mean by divulge? What do you mean by divulged? More options. See, divulged would mean really reveal. Would you divulge the truth or would you tell the truth? Then contingency. Contingency. What do you mean by contingency? This is an easy word. Contingency. Right. So in contingency, you should contact the doctor, or in case of contingency, do call up the appropriate authorities. Right. So contingency would mean emergency. Then inherent. What do you mean by inherent? Inherent means something which is part and parcel of a particular thing, right? Inherent would mean it is his inherent nature, right? It is his inherent nature that he behaves in such a way. So basically inherent would mean good, it would mean intrinsic, right? Inherent would mean intrinsic. Abeyance. Then the next word is abeyance. What do you mean by abeyance? Quickly, I want all of you to try. Abeyance would mean suspension, right? I am getting the right answers from most of you. Abeyance would mean suspension, right? Abeyance would mean suspension. Right. So see, by this we have done some examples where we see what is being expected out of us. See, there can be n number of questions which we could keep solving, right? So for this particular exercise, for synonyms, we'll keep it till here, right? In the material, I have given you enough, right? I have given you more than enough to practice, right? All the RTPs, all the MTPs, institute material, everything is covered. Now we will go to the next section, section B, which is antonyms, right? So now we will start doing the opposites, right? Now we'll start doing the opposites. Let's have a look at the first word. Let's have a look at the first word, disparage. What is the opposite of the word disparage? Right? If somebody could tell me in the chat that what do you mean by disparage? Right? Somebody could tell me what do you mean by disparage? What do you mean by disparage? Represent as being worth. Now it's completely the opposite. Disparage would mean to demean somebody, right? Disparage would mean to demean somebody or to look down upon somebody, right? So disparage means you do not consider the other person worthy enough, right? That is the meaning of disparage, right? The opposite of disparage is eulogize, which is basically you praise somebody, right? When you praise somebody. So there could be certain words which could be a little difficult, but then on an overall basis, right? On an overall basis, you would see that the words which are asked in the questions are known to us. Then support. What would be the opposite of support? Right. So you support somebody or you oppose somebody. Then predicament. Right, the next word is predicament. What would be the let's say opposite of this particular word? Right, predicament would mean something which is difficult, right? Predicament would mean something which is difficult, right? So, and the opposite of difficult is easy, right? Opposite of difficult is easy. This would mean difficult. Right? This would mean that something is difficult, right? The opposite of difficult is easy. Then the fourth word is mesmerized. That this is not a new word, right? I was mesmerized at looking at the view from the mountains. Right? I was mesmerized by looking at the view from the mountain. Quickly choose an option, everyone. Right, see, out of the options given, gruesome is the most appropriate. So when we say mesmerized, would mean that we were basically fascinated by something, right? So enthralled would again mean mesmerizing. Enthralled would mean something which fascinates us. Scary is something which is like which scares us. Harmony would mean peace. So the best suitable opposite is gruesome, right? So most of you gave the right answer. Adumbrate. The next word is adumbrate. Quickly write your answers in the chat. Right. Basically, adumbrate would means to summarize, right? Or to just tell the key points of something, right? So opposite of this will be elaborate. Elaborate means something in detail, and adumbrate would mean something in short. And elaborate would mean in details. Right? Let's have a look at the next word, fidelity. Put in your answers for point number 6, fidelity. Right, so fidelity would mean that you are, let's say, you trust on somebody, right? You are faithful to somebody, right? So committed, the first word is itself the meaning of the word fidelity, right? It means commitment, it means to trust, it means to have faith on somebody. So the opposite of this will be inconstancy, right? It will be inconstancy. You do not have faith on somebody, right? So this is the meaning of the word fidelity, and this is the opposite. B is the opposite of the word fidelity. Then the next word is gratify. The next word is gratify. What is the opposite of gratify? Right, so gratify would mean satisfaction, right? The meaning of the word gratify would be to be satisfied, something which gives satisfaction or pleasure. Right, so the opposite will be to frustrate. Frustrate would mean that when you are dissatisfied, right? When you are dissatisfied, right, you are frustrated. You say it gives me a feeling of gratification, means I am satisfied, I am pleased. But when you say I am frustrated, means I am not satisfied or I am not pleased with what is happening with me. Then the next word is applaud. We've seen the meaning of the word applaud. Applaud would means to praise somebody. So what would be the opposite of praising somebody? Quickly put it onto the chat or onto the comment. Right, so it would mean condemn somebody, right? Condemn somebody. Then the next word is cumbersome. The next word is cumbersome. If you know the meaning of the word cumbersome, then the opposite is very easy. Cumbersome means this work is becoming too cumbersome, means it is going out of hand, right? So something which is going out of hand, the opposite of this thing will be manageable, right? The opposite of this thing will be manageable. Then conceal. The next word is conceal. The next word is conceal. Conceal would means to hide something, right? Conceal would mean to hide something. So if the opposite of hide would be to let people know about that particular thing, so that is known, right? So by this, see, we have done let's say couple of instances for antonyms as well. So what do we require to do in this topic, right? We should know the meaning of the word, and if we know the meaning of the word, we'll definitely know the opposite as well, right? So rest of the words I will give it to you for practice, right? There is enough to practice, and there is answer key as well at the end of it, so that you could look at the and check that whether your answers were correct or not. Enough we have for this. Let's come to section C. Let us have a look at section C. It says, in each sentence below, underline the word that means the opposite of the italized words, and then identify the meaning of the italized words from the option given below. Right? So there are certain words which are in italics. We need to underline the opposite of that particular word in the sentence, and we need to give the meaning of that word as well. For example, many people have pointed out the harmful effect that a working mother may have on the family, yet there are many salutary effects as well. Right? There are many salutary effects as well. So here you need to underline the word which is opposite, and you need to give the meaning of the word salutary, right? Well-known, beneficial, hurt. Out of the three, you need to choose one. Khushbu, you are saying harmful. Harmful is the opposite, or is the meaning of the word salutary? Right, so harmful is basically the opposite of the word salutary, and salutary would mean beneficial, right? Salutary would mean beneficial, right? So this is how we need to solve this exercise. Rest I will let you do it, right? Rest, there are another 4 questions, total 5. 1 we have done. Do it on your own and check the answers. Then we have complete the expression by supplying a suitable preposition or adverb particle. Choose your answer from the options given in the bracket, right? So let's read this, let's do this together. We will take dash this issue when we meet up next week. So we will take up this issue, we'll take on this issue, or we'll take over this issue. What looks more suitable? Quickly put your answer in the chat. Good. We will take up this issue, right, when we meet the next week. He apologized his teacher for his misbehavior. He apologized to his teacher, from his teacher, with his teacher, against his teacher. Again, this is very easy. He apologized to his teacher for his misbehavior. Then we'll move on to the next part in this topic, which is idioms, right? What do we mean by idioms? Idioms would mean a group of words, right? A group of words, certain number of words, meaning different, right? Meaning a group of words meaning different from their literal meaning, right? Meaning different from their literal meaning. For example, when we say that it's a cake walk, right? When we say it's a cake walk, we would mean that it is easy, right? We refer to something as a cake walk when we say that something is easy, right? Solving this sum is a cake walk. So solving this sum is easy. But cake has a different meaning, walk has a different meaning. But when we put this group of words together, it implies that it is easy, right? So the idioms are those words when put together, right, have a meaning different than the actual meaning of the words which are there in that particular group, right? So we have given you a lot of examples in this. Something like a black sheep, right? Black sheep would mean an odd one in the family, right? An odd one in the family. Another example, bed of roses, right? His life is bed of roses because he has so much of wealth. So bed of roses would mean that comfortable life, right? Comfortable life, easy life, right? So bed would mean something on which we sleep. Roses are flowers, right? But then when put together, bed of roses, it would mean a comfortable life with luxuries, right? So there are a lot of idioms which are there, and normally while reading we come across some idioms in our day-to-day life. What I would like you to do is that there is a list of idiom which is there, which I have put in for you. But then again, as in case of vocabulary, right, same in case of idiom, there are infinite n number of idioms which are there. Again, it will depend upon your bandwidth of how much do you read and how much do you come across these idioms. I have put in a practical exercise which will give you a fair exposure to these idioms. When we talk about these idioms, again in the exam you could get 2 to 3 marks from idioms, right? Idioms plus phrasal verbs. We'll talk about phrasal verbs together with idioms because both of them are more or less the same, right? Phrasal verbs are again group of words which functions as a verb. The meaning of phrasal verb is different from the meaning of the sentence itself. For something like, for example, let's say when it says look after. So when we say you should look after your parents, right? Look means to see, after means behind. But when we use this word, these two words together, look after would means to take care of, right? Look after would mean take care of, right? So look after would mean to take care of. Maybe if you are facing some problem, right? You could tell the relevant authority, please look into this matter, right? So when you say to look into this matter, you want them to investigate this matter, right? So look into would means to find out more about something, right? When we say look out, so you should look out for something, which means that you should be careful, right? You should be careful, you should avoid impending danger, right? So there are a lot of phrasal verbs which are there. I have put in a list for you, or maybe put off. Your marks are so bad that it puts me off. So it causes a bad impression of you in my mind. I am sad looking at this particular result, right? So there are a lot of phrasal verbs again which are there. I have compiled a list for you. You should go through this. Right. Now we'll try to do a practical exercise on idioms and phrasal verbs together, right? Because we have already studied English for so many years, right? We should have come across lot of idioms and lot of phrasal verbs in the past. So based on our existing knowledge, let us try to see whether we are able to solve these or not. These are exams question. Select the correct meaning of the idioms of phrases given below. First one is storm in the tea. First one is storm in the tea. Crave for something, drink tea often. So when we say storm in the tree, drink tea often is something which is absolutely way off. Get into quarrel, making a big issue of a small thing. So when we say storm in the teacup, so if I am to convert it into a sentence, do not take this issue to a particular level, right? Or do not create a storm in the teacup because it's a trivial matter. So basically, what you're trying to say, it's a small thing, do not convert it into a big issue. Making a big issue out of a small thing would mean storm in a teacup. Then, to grease the palm. So when we say that if you want to get your work done in a particular government department, you should grease the palm of that officer, right? So what does that mean? What are your answers? Quickly put in your answers. Right, so you should, this means that to bribe somebody, right? To offer a bribe to somebody, right? अगर काम निकलवाना है तो थोड़ा आगे पीछे तो करना पड़ेगा ना. So that would means to grease the palm of the particular person, means to bribe a particular person. Out of the blue. Out of the blue. Let's say we say he was not performing well, but he came first out of the blue. Right? He was not performing well, but he came first out of the blue. Means something that was not expected, right? Something which was unexpected, right? When we say out of the blue, it means something which was unexpected. Day in, day out. What do you mean by day in, day out? Day in, day out, he only has one work of playing on his mobile phone. So this would mean continuously, right? Day in, day out would mean continuously. Good. Then cry over spilled milk, right? This is very commonly used. Stop crying over the spilled milk. This has happened, now you cannot change it again, right? So it would mean that complain about something which cannot be rectified. Now the milk has been spilled. Only thing you can do is wipe it off, forget it and get ahead in life, right? So it would mean complain about something that cannot be rectified. Then judge a book by its cover. It's very commonly used, right? Now, normally we say that you should not judge a book by its cover, right? The appearance or the way in which things appear on the onset may not be true, right? So it would mean that you rely on the outward appearance, right? Judging the book by its cover would mean to rely on the outward appearance, right? So these are very common, let's say, idioms or phrasal verbs which normally comes in the exam. Right? We'll do it till here. Rest, I will keep it for you to do it on your own. And again, the answer key is provided. The more you practice, the better it is for you. And it has taken a lot of efforts to put through these particular work notes, because you see the amount of content we have put into this, right? The institute material, then MTPs, RTPs, past test papers. So we have taken a lot of care in putting this material through, and this effort will be worthwhile only if you practice it, right? I am requesting each one of you watching this, please do practice and please complete this entire material thoroughly. Then again we have section F. Each of the sentence given below contains an incomplete phrasal verb. Complete the expression by supplying a suitable preposition or adverb particle. Choose your answer from the options given. Let us do this. We'll do couple of from this. All Maria's relatives are of the opinion that she takes dash her mother. What is your answer? Put your answer in the chat. Options are after, of, in. All Maria's relatives are of the opinion that she takes after her grandmother, takes off her grandmother, takes in her grandmother. What should be the answer? Good. The answer is she takes after. Does somebody know what do we mean by takes after? If you can put it in the chat, what do we mean by takes after? Resembles. Very good word. Resembles. Khushbu, it's not take care of. If I say you take after your grandparents or you take after your father, that would mean that you resemble, your appearance resembles as to your grandparents or as to your father. Means to look like, right? Take after means to look like. Your features are like somebody in your family. That is when we say take after. Right? Khushbu, it's not take care of. Take after means you resemble, you look like somebody. Then, the music is too loud. Could you turn the volume, please? Turn back, turn down, turn up. This is pretty easy. Right? Turn down the volume. Good. Right? Rest of it, I will keep it for you to complete. The answers are there. You could check your answers, but these are very easy. Then, complete the following sentences by filling in the blanks with suitable phrasal verb. Let us do the first one. I thought the conference was going to be boring, but it dash to be quite useful. I thought the conference was going to be boring, but it dash to be quite useful. Right? Good. The answer is it turned out to be very useful. Right? But it turned out to be very useful. He dashed the kitchen and made some tea. Or let's do something. Let's keep the rest because there are only 5. Let's keep the rest for you. Right? You do it and you check your answer. Right? Let's move to the next one. Next part of the topic. So see, by this we covered the portion which is usually asked in the exam. But then the other portion, point number 4 onwards, right? The other portion is there in the institute material. Although they haven't asked a question from this particular topic till date, but there are high chances, there are probabilities that they could ask a question from this, right? So let's go through them as well. What are connotations? Right? These are words which invoke idea or a feeling, right? These are words which invoke idea or a feeling, right? These type of words are known as connotations. Connotations is defined as suggesting a meaning by a word apart from the thing it explicitly names or describes. We'll look at it with the help of an example. Just let's read through this particular thing. The strict dictionary definition of a word is known as denotation. Please note, the strict dictionary meaning of a particular word is known as denotation. The feelings or the emotions associated with a word is known as connotation, right? Is known as a connotation. I'll give you an example. Maybe there's a boy or there's a girl, right? Listen to this very carefully. If I say that this girl is fat, or maybe this boy is fat, will it look presentable or will it look offensive to that particular person? Quickly put your answer in the chat. If I say that this particular boy is fat or this particular girl is fat, will it be a positive thing or will it have a negative impact on that particular person? Very good. It would appear offensive. But instead of using the word fat, if I say that this girl is chubby or this particular boy is chubby, will it appear okay or will it still appear as offensive as calling that particular person as fat? I want your answers in the chat. Will chubby look equally bad if I call a particular boy or a girl chubby? Right? Would it still appear as offensive or it will be a little toned down version of saying that you are fat? Right? It would appear positive, right? It will appear positive. So see, if you look at the dictionary meaning of the word chubby, it would say that the person is fat. And if you look at the dictionary meaning of the word fat, it would give out that you could also call that person chubby. But then, the selection of the right word is very important, right? Why? Because fat would look offensive, it would look negative. Whereas chubby would look at a positive side of it. Maybe if I say that this person is assertive, and if I say that this person is stubborn, right? Stubborn would mean jiddi, right? Somebody who does not go back on his words, right? So assertive and stubborn, both are more or less related. Assertive means that if I am saying something, I will stand by it. Stubborn would also mean that if I am saying something, I will stand by it. But assertive looks more positive as compared to stubborn. Stubborn has a negative meaning, right? So what I am trying to say is that there are words which emits emotions, right? Which emits emotions. Like fat would, let's say, exhibit a negative emotion, whereas chubby would be a neutral or a positive emotion, right? You could say somebody, yeah guy, right, you're really chubby. So it's not like you're trying to offend. But if you say you're really fat, you're trying to offend, right? So here by connotation, we mean there are words and the expressions associated or the feelings associated with those words, right? Let us have a look at the examples relating to this. So it says a word's connotation can be either positive or can be negative. Fat will have a negative connotation. Chubby would have a positive connotation. Assertive would have a positive connotation. Negative would have a negative, stubborn would have a negative connotation. Depends on the context in which it is used, and to some degree on the reader or on the hearer, somebody who hears it. Let us examine the connotations a little more closer by studying the group of words. Right? So, somebody who is talkative. Right? Somebody who is talkative. Right? Talkative means somebody who talks a lot. Right? So, talkative is more or less a neutral. You are a talkative person. So, it's neutral. Right? I talk more. But if you address that person as verbose, you are really verbose. Verbose is a negative term, right? Right. Verbose is a negative term to, let's say, address somebody as talkative. Or maybe you call this person as eloquent, means talks lot. He really somebody who is really peppy, somebody who is really full of life, right? So the meaning of these words are talkative. Right, are talkative. But then verbose is on a negative sense and eloquent is on a positive sense, containing more words than necessary. Vividly or movingly expressive. So if I say that you are very eloquent, means you are very expressive, you say whatever you want to say, you express yourself freely. But instead of using this word, if I say verbose, it would look negative, that you speak too much. Something like stench or odor, a bad odor or scent. Aroma is positive, right? So when we say aroma, fragrance, right, we are talking about a smell but in a positive sense. When we say odor or when we say stench, right, we are still talking about smell, but that's a negative impression of it, right? So the words would have the same meaning, right? The words would have the same meaning, but the way in which the word has been used and let's say a particular word would emanate a negative feeling, a particular word could emanate a positive feeling, right? Let us have a look at the exercise. See, I have put in a lot of examples here. You could go through these examples, right? It will help you to have more list of these particular words. Let us have a look at the exercise. Categorize the words from each group of words given below into positive, negative or neutral. First one is done for you, right? The first one is gaze, look steadily, stare, right? So could you please tell me which one is, let's say, positive, which one is neutral and which one is basically negative? Put it onto the chat. See, here gaze is a positive connotation. Here denotation would mean that it's the literal meaning or the neutral word. So look steadily is the neutral word and staring at somebody is a negative word, right? Staring at somebody is a negative word. Whereas, let's have a look at the next one. Brainwash, persuade, influence one way or other, right? Influence one way or other. Right, gaze is positive, look steadily is neutral and stare is negative. Good. Could you please do this as well? Brainwash, persuade, influence one way or the other. Right, please motivate him and persuade him to work diligently towards achieving his goal. Brainwash him in such a way that he does not listen to somebody else and does what I want him to do. And then influence one way or the other. Right, how would you look at it? Right, good. Persuade is the positive connotation. Then influence one way or the other is the neutral thing, and then brainwash is the negative connotation. Great. So rest of it, you do it looking at the word. If the word is harsh, it will become a negative tone, right? And then something which is neutral will be the denotation, and the positive side you will be able to identify, right? Let's do one more. Let's do point number 5. Lazily, without haste, leisurely. All the three has the same meaning. Lazily means very slow. Without haste means without, let's say, any energy, or slowly. Leisurely would also mean slowly. So categorize it into positive, neutral, and negative connotation. Quickly put your answer in the chat. See, if you call somebody lazy, he or she would not like it, right? So therefore, lazily would come under the negative category, right? If you say without haste, you're trying to be diplomatic, you're trying to be neutral, and when you say you're doing it quite leisurely, means you're doing it quite slowly, but leisurely is a positive word, right? Leisurely is a positive word. Great. So please complete this exercise. Then we have one more similar exercise relating to this. So you just go through this. These two exercises are on the same grounds. You read through this and you have the answers to this in the end of this particular work note. We'll move on to the next section, which is prefix and suffix. This is basically very easy, very basic, right? Prefix is a word which is used at the beginning. Let's say if I'm using the word happy, I can add un at the beginning of it and change the meaning, right? Un at the beginning of the word and I can change the meaning. Unhappy, right? So un is basically the prefix, right? Un is basically the prefix. Let's say there's a word do. I add the word re in front of it and the meaning changes. So prefix is a letter or a group of letters that appears at the beginning of a word and changes the word's original meaning, right? From happy it becomes unhappy, it changes the original meaning. Whereas suffix is a letter or a group of letters usually added onto the end of the words to change the way a word fits into a sentence grammatically, right? So, for example, run is the word. He was on a run. And I could say running. He was running. So basically, if you add ing right after the words, right, this would be known as suffix. So when you add a word or a letter or a couple of letters in the beginning of a particular word and the meaning of the word changes, that is known as prefix. When you add something at the end of the word, right, to make it more suitable to add it in a particular sentence, right, that becomes suffix. Is it clear to everybody? Prefix, pre means pehle. Suffix would go at the end. Let us have a look at certain examples. Let us have a look at certain examples. So, for example, ambi would mean both. So, ambiguous, ambidextrous, ambifian, right? Similarly, words, I could use certain words which are more commonly used. Something like by as a prefix. By would normally mean two. So, this cycle is a word, we add by, so it becomes a bicycle. Cameral is a word. If I use the letters bi in front of it, it becomes bicameral. Basically, annual is the word. Annual would means once a year. If I add bi as a prefix, it will become biannual, means it will become 2 times a year. Then let's have a look at some more common words. For example, multi. Multi would means many. So maybe multitasking, right? In front of the word tasking or task, you could use it as multitasking. Multifaceted, multilingual means knows many language, right? To the word level, you use multi-level means too many levels, right? So words which are used at the beginning, letters which are used at the beginning of a particular word is prefix. Similarly, we have example for suffix as well, like able. Able would mean something which can be done, right? So capable, readable, convertible, right? So this able is the suffix. Read, readable. Convert, convertible, right? So these are the suffix. Then we could have a something like logy, science of or study of. So biology, geology, zoology, psychology, astrology, right? So the logy which is being used after a particular word is its suffix. Let us have a look at it with the help of the example, right? I know you would be able to do it very well. Use a prefix to find the opposite of the word, right? You need to, let's say, use a prefix. Prefix means pre. It will come before the words and you should get the opposite of the word, right? For rap, quickly put your answer in the chat. If the word is rap, what would be the opposite of the word rap? Pretty easy. Unwrap. Very good. The opposite of the word wrap will be, keep doing for the next one. Connect. For the word connect. Very good. Disconnect. Then for the word behave. Very good. Misbehave. You need the opposites. Fold. Unfold. Very good. Then spell. Spell. Misspell. Very good. You spelled it correctly, you misspelled it. Great. Similarly, we have an exercise where complete the following sentences using appropriate form of the word given in the bracket. Add a prefix or a suffix to this word. The team he supported was able to win the champion. What would you add to champion to make this sentence meaningful? The team he supported was able to win the championship. Very good. Right, I'll do only the first one along with you. Rest of it you do it on your own. Right, rest of it you do it on your own so that you get enough practice. Maybe we could do one more. Right, we could do one more. Let's say 6. Some TV shows are completely dash for children. They must not watch them. The word is suitable, right? How would you change it? Very good. Unsuitable. Great. Rest of it you do it on your own. Let's go to the next word. Next portion is root words, right? Root words. So basically there are some words which give birth to some other words as well, right? A particular word giving birth to some other words. So these words are known as the root words, right? They are the roots which have created the other words. So basically you could say that mother words. In English grammar, a root word or word part from which other words grow, right? From which other words grow, usually through addition of a prefix or a suffix. Prefix means before, suffix would means after. It is the heart of a particular word. So you could call them as mother words, right? From which other words would grow, right? From which other words would grow, right? So therefore we call it as root words. For example, maybe the word run is the root word for the word running, right? We add suffix to the word run and it becomes running, right? So we have taken a lot of examples. Something like the root word is air or arrow, which would mean air. So aeroplane, aerospace, aerate, aerial. So basically AER or AERO is the root word for these particular words which have been created. Then let's take another example. Let's say arch. Arch would means first, prime or ruler, right? So archbishop, who is the head of the church. Monarch, who is the king of the state. Archaeology would means the study of something which is old, right? To date it back to its origin, right? To date it back to its origin. Then biblio would means book, bibliophile, bibliography, Bible, right? So bibliophile would mean lover of a book, bibliography would means writings of a book, and Bible would means the book. So normally I say that my study materials are the Bible. If you just study that, right, it's all that you need to do, right? It is all you need to do. Then cent, this is a common word. Cent would means 100. So we have century, percent, century. This is sanitary. Sanitary would mean 100 anniversary, percent. Then 100 years is century, right? So these are basically the root words. Again, we have an exercise in relation to this, right? We have an exercise in relation to this which says make new words, right? You need to make new words combining the root word and one of the prefixes, right? Each is used twice. So these are the prefixes, right? These are the prefixes, and each prefix can be used only 2 times. So there are 10 words which needs to be made, and each prefix could be used only 2 times. So let's go through this. You keep putting it into the chat. Place. What would be more suitable? Deplace, overplace, antiplace, preplace, displace. So I think displace means move it from its original position. Great. Then code. I think decode fits in. Then vent. Devent, overvent, anti-vent, prevent. So we have prevent. Keep putting it into the chat, right? Then social. What would be the answer to social? Social, I think this fits in. Anti-social. Obey. So we'll have disobey. It's pretty easy. Act. Deact, overact, anti-act, preact, disact. What would be the answer? Overact. Then septic. Antiseptic, pretty easy. Age. What would fit with age? What would fit with age? Quickly into the chat. overage, great. Then pend, this will be depend. Serve, preserve, right? So pretty easy. Then choose the correct meaning of the root word. Duo. Duo would normally mean two. Odd. See, now the thing is that how do we know odd? How do we know whether it means light, it means air, it means sound, or it means water? What you should try to do is you should try to construct certain words using odd. Right? Moment you get to know certain words using odd, you will get to know the answer. For example, when I listen to this word odd, I would think of audio, audible, right? Audio, audible. Right? So when I talk about audio, audible, out of the options, right, the best suitable options appears to be sound. So that is how I go to this particular option. Again, biblio. We had done this word biblio above, right? Biblio would mean something which is related to books. Right? So biblio would mean book, the root word, because we had seen there are a lot of words with biblio, bibliophy, bibliography, Bible. So it is all related to books. Then the next word is shed. The next word is shed. Again, what you should try to do is you should try to create certain words related to shed. Right? And then you will get to know what is the answer. Similarly, for example, said, precede. Right? Precede. I can make a word precede. Precede means going ahead. Right? Going ahead. So if I made the word precede, so it's not eat, it's not sleep, it's not awake, it's go. Because precede means you're moving towards a particular direction. You're going. Ego. Ego means something like ego itself is a word, and then egoistic, egoism. So basically ego is associated with self, right? It is not other, it is not together, it is not another, but ego is associated with self. So this is how you do root words. And then I think this is the last portion, right? I think this is the last portion. Collocation. Collocation would means words that are used together or fixed in a particular, let's say, form. For example, healthy relationship, healthy food. So these two words come together. Keep going. So these two words come together. Let down. So these two words come together, right? So correlation is basically a group of two or more words which usually appear together, right? Group of two or more words which usually appear together, right? So words that are used together. A collocation is a familiar grouping of words, especially words that habitually appear together, thereby convey a meaning by association, right? So basically, see, I have given examples, type of collocations. It could be noun plus noun, like tea leaf, service industry, single entry, death camp, peer group, street name. It could be noun plus verb, dogs bark, water flows, bears glow, pigs grunt, paper flutters. Then adjective plus noun. He has a high fever. It gives a burning sensation. His vision is blurred. So blurred vision. Then adverb plus adjective. Completely satisfied. Completely dissatisfied. Infinitesimally small means very small, minuscule, meticulously studied. Right? Something like verb and adverb. Performed magically, sung Melodiously, read thoroughly, right? And then certain business related collocation like make a profit or loss is usually together. Security, blanket, a blank check, service charge, then chair a meeting, annual turnover, sales figure, cease to trade, go bankrupt, make money, break the law, profit margin, opinion poll, excise tax, cash flow. So normally the words, right? Two words which are normally used together, two or more words which are usually used together will be known as collocation, right? Very quickly we'll do an exercise on this. Try to form collocation from the given words. So the end words is sun. So what word would you normally use with sun? Could you please put some of the words in the chat? What words would you normally put along with sun? Very good. Bright. Rising. Very good. It could be scorching. It's scorching hot. The sun is scorching, right? So bright, rising, scorching, etc. Then the last word, eyes. What words would normally come with it? Eyes. Normally we say breaking the ice. Thin ice, right? Thin ice could also be there. Or normally when we say breaking the ice means to get to gel with somebody is breaking the ice. Then meeting. What words would you normally use with meeting? Formal meeting, group meeting, very good. Formal meeting, group meeting, then informal meeting, annual meeting, board meeting, right? Urgent meeting, right? So these are words which normally come together. Then completely. What word would you normally use before completely? Very good. Understood completely. Then read this particular topic completely. Then pain. What do you come to your mind when you see this word pain? Deep pain. Okay. What else? Deep pain. What else? Unbearable pain. Right, unbearable pain. Very good. I got this answer from the chat as well. Great. Then the next word, freedom. What would you normally associate before freedom? Very good. Complete freedom. Great. Then rule. What would you associate with rule? Okay, dictator, rule, okay. Normally we say it's a strict rule. It's a harsh rule. Right? Decision. What would you use before the word decision? Very good. Bold. It's a bold decision. Correct. Okay, but normally bold, right? Good. Tough decision. It's a tough decision. Good decision, bad decision, great. So this is how you need to complete this, right? So rest of it you complete it on your own, right? And by this we complete our entire portion on vocabulary, right? After this we have certain exercises as well, right? In terms of, again, these are very easy. These were part of mock test and RTPs, etc. So 2 exercises are there. These are also largely related to your antonyms, synonyms, phrasal verbs, idioms, etc. So you have to try this on your own as well. So by this, see guys, these 7 marks from this chapter is very precious. Please remember. Because maximum in 2 to 3 minutes, you will be able to gain these 7 marks. What you have to do, keep your eyes and ears open whenever you listen to a new word or whenever you come across an idiom or a phrasal verb. Please ensure that you, let's say, listen to it properly. If you listen to it properly, I believe you will be able to do it. And then it's a very, very exhaustive exercise, right? The work notes have been compiled with lot of mehnat, because we have, let's say, collated data from various places and we have tried to make it very, very comprehensive. I would request each one of you to please do this entire exercise. Please remember, these 3 items normally come for 2 to 3 marks in the exam, right? Totaling it to total 7 to 8 marks in the exams. These have not been asked in the exams till date, but there is a very high probability that they could ask something from this. So don't totally ignore it. And there is enough of material in this particular work note. We have already shared this work note with you. Do practice it diligently, right? So by this, I will end this session and we'll see you in the next session, guys. Please keep on studying well. Great. Bye.